Publicize to internalize. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are. Awesome ambassadors of light, love, healing, trust, and redemption, with the attitude of abundant gratitude, powerful souls, and high vibes human beings with infinite potential, quantum leapers into unknown, ushering Geulah right here, right now. Worthy announcers of the most joyous news ever to hit this planet. The announcements of redemption of King Moshiach, also known as Lubavitcher Rebbe, the messenger from God and the prophet of our generation. Let's silence the static in your head by simply focusing on your breath for a moment. Exhale deeply and forcefully. Inhale slowly and gently, and exhale slowly and deeply with gratitude to Almighty. Dear and loving God, thank you for granting me the serenity to accept Geulah redemption here and now as the only true reality, for giving me the courage to change my galut, exile, duplicity mindset to Geulah unity consciousness, and the wisdom to know how to publicize this truth of unfolding redemption to the world as the prophet of our generation, King Moshiach Lubavitcher Rebbe, instructed. This is a quote from foreword to the English edition of the book Besuras HaGeulah, the announcement of redemption, a collection of excerpts of the talks of the King Moshiach Lubavitcher Rebbe. Here it is. These excerpts, which contain the Rebbe's pronouncement that the time for your redemption has arrived and that behold Moshiach is coming, represent some of the most riveting statements made over the last few years, 1990 to 1992, and have been edited by the Rebbe personally with a special request that they be publicized throughout the world. And here's another quote from Rosh Chodesh Elul 1991. In simple terms, it should be announced and publicized in all places with heartfelt words that God says through His servants, the prophets, to each and every Jew, behold, I am placing before you today a blessing, so much so that literally today we will see with eyes of flesh the blessing of the true and complete redemption. This announcement must be made even by those who argue that they have not completely absorbed its full meaning. Since their faith is intact, they're able to and consequently required to publicize these matters to others, first and foremost their own family members. Certainly, they don't need to suffer from his or her lack of comprehension of this matter. They should also spread the word to all those within their environment and ultimately to each and every Jew. Undoubtedly, the appropriate effort will be made and received, and it will have its intended effect on others, as well as inspiring the one making the announcement and doing the publicity, that he too should internalize the message. End of quote. According to one of the greatest Torah giants and codifiers, Rambam, also known as Maimonides, Moshiach will have the power of prophecy even before redemption unfolds. In every generation, there exists one righteous Jew who stands heads and shoulders above everyone else, like Moshe, first leader and redeemer in his time, who stood between God and you to relate to you the word of God. This righteous individual, designated in advance, will impart the prophecy of coming redemption and will be revealed as Moshiach if his generation merits. The future times which Maimonides is prophesying in his medieval manuscript are on our doorstep, live and manifesting right in front of our eyes. In his public address on Shabbat exactly 31 years ago, King Moshiach Lubavitcher Rebbe explicitly stated that his message of Moshiach's coming was being uttered as a prophecy, and that all members of our generation were obligated to hearken to his voice. King Moshiach based his talk on Maimonides' work and concluded with practical directive. We must publicize to everyone in the generation that we have merited, that God has chosen a person endowed with a free choice, who is incomparably higher than the members of this generation, as the judge, counselor, and the prophet of the generation, to provide instruction and advice to all people, including the essential prophecy, immediate redemption, and immediately in actuality, behold, here comes Moshiach. Maimonides wrote God makes man prophecy, which is simply incredible and definitely the most amazing phenomenon of all. It is the encounter between the infinite and the finite, between chaos and order, between God's wisdom and man's intellect. The light of prophecy shines only on the one who blocks out the manifestations of his intellect and emotions. That's why to believe in the prophet, our intellect also has to be put in its place. It is not allowed to negate illogical information or to bend it to fit the human logic, not even Torah logic. And in order not to leave any room for error, the Maimonides emphasizes belief in the prophet precedes belief in the Torah, for if there is no prophet, there is no Torah. Today, our generation merited to obey the words of the prophet of the biblical proportions, which is a mitzvah, a commandment in the Torah. We were specifically told by this prophet that we're not only able, but required to publicize the prophetically joyous announcements of redemption in all places and to everyone. Because he's not just a great sage, but a kosher certified prophet chosen by God himself. His prophecies of complete and true Geula redemption here and now is absolute 100% certainty, even though it might not appear this way. We were guaranteed that this publicity not only will have its intended effect on others, but also will help you, the one making the announcement, to internalize the message. And the time to publicize this prophetic truth is limited, because as soon as our eyes will open, we'll see that true and complete Geula is here already in a simple sense, just as the prophet told us. The most decisive moment is right now. The most essential space is here where you are, because from here and now, Moshiach and redemption will be seen. Geula bitachon, Geula hava, Geula achla, Geula Moshiach ba. Moshiach כבר בא בשירה וזמרה, Moshiach כבר בא זקף בגאולה. Redemption here now, גאולה פה עכשיו, Moshiach пришел, גאולу привел, גאולה ביטחון, גאולה אהבה, גאולה אחלה, גאולה משיח בא.